Hello and welcome back. It's been a long time since we did our last video. Today we're here with the Rover and we're gonna get ready for another trip. We're heading to Houston once more. We got the World Cup coming in. We have Morocco versus Canada. We need to go support our fellow Leaf North neighbors, friends, and yeah. So we're gonna get the car up and ready, do a check over and everything on it, make sure it can handle the trip. It has been pretty hot, so the main thing here is we want to make sure the car can handle the heat as we get there. Up where I'm at, temperature is okay, roughly about high 80s, 90s. But once we hit Houston, we were going to hit a very hot temperatures there, high 90s and 100 degrees. Our last time we were there, it was high 90s, so we should be okay. The main thing is we want to watch out for is, of course, our radiator temperatures and our transmission temperatures. Right. So we have the Rover outside here, and like I said, the last time we looked at it, it was, we were coming back from Houston, and it was a good trip. The return trip was uneventful. Nothing major happened. The air compressor gave a little bit of a fuss. And since then, that was back in April, we have been just collecting parts to replace onto the Rover. The main thing is we were picking up all sorts of ignition parts. We went with a lot of new old stock that I could find on eBay, and I also tried to fix the compressor. We'll get into that in a moment. In April, I had to actually go back to Houston, and I think the Rover heard me because it decided it wanted to leak fuel everywhere. The jets on the SU carburetors, that thing right down there, the tube on this side, on the left hand side carburetor, completely broke. It just spilled fuel everywhere, and so the Rover was sidelined for a few weeks while I was waiting for parts to rebuild them. Because of that, unfortunately, I had to borrow this car here. Yes, it drove fantastic. Truly the ultimate driving machine, BMWs. Woohoo. Yeah, not to knock anything. I like BMWs. It was a really fun driving car. I got to borrow it, and very, very enjoyable drive. So, what happened after we got our SU, our jets, their 1.0 liter jets, 1.1 jets, and we replaced that. Replaced some of the gaskets. Replaced the seat and the valve and the float all on our bowls, fuel bowls. These are HS6, not the HIF ones. Readjusted our carburetors. Pretty much got everything up and running, all tuned up there. And in terms of ignition, originally I wanted to go with electronic ignition after our little mishap in Houston, but I could not find an electronic ignition that would be plug and play for this type of distributor. This one has an older distributor plate. The only one I found was a company in England, and I have had mixed results with them, so I did not want to go with that route. I ended up just buying a brand new set of points, condenser, a rotor. These are 8mm Kingborn wires. The company's not around anymore. It's the same. They made fantastic wires. The coil I had already there. That was a sports coil, 1.5 sports coil. Spark plugs I had on already. Those are NGK ones. I'm a big fan of NGK. Champions are okay, but I prefer NGKs. Denso is also a good one, but they don't make the sort of style spark plugs for this engine. Other things that has been done since then. A lot of the vacuum lines had to be replaced, and right here on this whole vacuum system here, all those mostly had to be replaced, and the ones in the back right down there, and that plug. That was all done, and topping off transmission fluid. And what else was there? On the cooling side, all I did was tighten up hoses and replace the radiator cap. car actually runs pretty cool. It doesn't get too too hot unless you're running the air conditioning. Now, the air conditioning did cause some problems on the return trip. I noticed some noise from the pulley, from the pulley. My guess was the bearings were getting old, which is about right. The clutch in itself is fine, and these York compressors are actually very sturdy, and really nothing goes wrong with them as long as they're oiled. So I took it off and I replaced the oil with ester oil. So most York compressors are going to have regular mineral oil, which is compatible with R12. If you put ester oil, it's compatible with both R12 and 134. It's just a good replacement. If you have the compressor out, just put it in. I think I overfilled it because next thing you know, we have oil seeping out of the compressor. I was able to recover the Freon the first time when I took this out, but on the second time when I put it back in, I lost all the Freon. There's a leak somewhere, so right now the air compressor does not work. Turns on, but we're not getting cold air anymore. Oh, another one thing I did too was this right here. We replaced the cork that goes there, and that's for your warning sensor for the brake fluid. And some of the other videos, I don't know if you noticed, but so the brake light will always come flashing on and on. Every time I would hit a bump or so, it was just because this would be moving up, and it was triggered a signal saying, hey, you're low on brake fluid. So we replaced the cork, and let's fix that. So there, all that stuff done, and the car runs a little better. It kind of, after coming back from Houston, decided it wanted to have some sort of mysterious problem. There was some issues with vacuums and fuel, and I ended up replacing the fuel pump back with the original one. And the video a long time ago, I mentioned that I took the fuel pump off, and after looking at it, it really looked like just the filter was just the issue. So cleaning up the filter, replacing that, and then just cleaning up the fuel pump itself. And I put it back on here just to test something, and it actually worked. No problem with fuel. I'm able to go 80 miles an hour with it, and it seems to be working a little better. I don't know if my new facet fuel pump was the issue. I really doubt it because they tend to be pretty reliable facet, but I can't rule it out just yet. So far everything's working fine. I will be carrying the spare fuel pump with me just in case on the road we need to do an emergency swap, which I really do hope we do not. But right now what I'm doing is the mixture with the screws right here. So the jets, when I took it off, the mixture got mixed up around a bit. I was really hoping to kind of keep everything the same, but taking off the carburetors, things kind of moved around. I had to do the idle on both sides, and now I had to do the mixture on both. What I like to do is, on the screws right there, you use a 5/8 wrench, and in this one it works perfectly since you can just get in like this and you adjust it left and right. When you adjust it and the screw goes up, you're making it leaner, and when you adjust it down, it becomes richer. What I do is I raise it all the way to the top, max it out on lean, and then I get my favorite marker, which is a pink. I always like bright colors. Get a nice pink marker, and I mark one of the flats. From there, after I mark the flat, you can always see it. I go ahead and just rotate this until I do 3 full rotations. Pretty much once I see the pink flat appears. Now on minis and some of these smaller SU1s, 2 is usually your starting point. On this one, because we have a much bigger carburetor, so we're going to go with 3. If you go with 2, it'll be too lean. 3 seems about right, and then from there we'll adjust it. Alright, so. And then after we adjust, once we start the car on, what we're going to do is we're going to lift the piston. We're going to go in here with a screwdriver. This thing's in the way. And just lift it up slightly and see how the engine reacts. If the engine raises up in revs and then goes back to normal, that's perfect. If it goes up in revs and stays, that means too rich. And if it wants to die, that means too lean. So, and we'll do that on both sides. We're gonna do this side first, and then we switch over to the other side. They're both set right now to 3 full turns on the mixer screw. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car on, and we'll see. All right, listen to that engine purr. Actually sounds fine. It's a little quiet. It's under 1,000 RPMs. Originally, this car was idling when I first got it about 1,500, which I always thought was very high. I reduced the idle down to about right where it is right now, which is around 900 to 1,000. So a little bit quieter. All right. So now what we're gonna do is, like I said, we'll take a screwdriver and we're gonna lift the piston up. You can also use the there's a lift pin right there. You can also use that. Now I lifted it at too high. It's only supposed to lift it a little bit too high, and it's going to act like it's going to die either way. So all right. So from what I can tell, it sounds like it stumbles a little and then goes back to where it's supposed to be. So right now I would say it's running too lean. We're gonna go probably 1 or 2 flats, and then we'll go see from there. The other thing you want to do after you adjust it is you do want to throttle the gas a little, just to kind of reset the whole thing. So on this side is easy. We've got a clean access. The other side we won't. Alright, so that's 2 turns. So I did go full 1 turn with 4 full turns, and at 4 it was too high. You could tell that the revs would go up and then it'll go back to normal, so it was too rich. Middle ground is between three full turns. Between 3 and 4 is where you want to kind of go at. So I did one side with 2.5. Excuse me. So from the very top, 3 full turns down, and then I did another half way till 4. Try to find like the nice spot where you can hear the engine revs go up, and then when they start going down, you stop and just go back a little. And that's sort of where I liked it at, and just left it there. So now we're gonna do it on this side too. Like I said, the other side was just very simple. We got a good clean access. This one we have a lot of vacuum pipes in the way. We have our, you gotta take this off, and we will have to take the filler, the dipstick off. So this makes it a little bit tricky. What we'll do is we will adjust it with the car off, then turn it on and see if it makes a difference, because we'll have to put this back on, otherwise that's a big vacuum leak also. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You've seen how I did the other side. This one's a little harder to see. It's right there in the bottom. Same concept. I'm going to go, it's already set at 3 full turns down. I'm going to go about 3 more turns, 3 more flat turns, and that should be about the same as on the other side. Okay, so we got the car, the carburetor, mixture, screw turns the same as mount as the other side, and right now it sounds nice. Well, what we'll do next after this is take it for a test run and see how the throttle response is, and also how our top end driving experience is like. Do we have enough power on accelerations? Can I get to top speeds? Any pinking and pinging noises from the engine, things like that. So we'll see on our test drive, and I think everything's gonna be fine. Alright, so we just took the car around for its first run. I'm gonna turn the radio off. From my house to my first stop, everything seems to be working fine. There's a lot of pickup it got up to 80 miles per hour without too much issue. It got to 35 RPMs, no issues. Going up a steep hill, it was able to maintain 3 to 35 or 70, 80 miles without problem. Okay, so minor things. Oil pressure gauge has been very finicky. I messed with the connector and it didn't like it. It was reading okay and then went back down, then went back up and went down. Now it's stuck down. I think I need a new connector. Just redo the connection on it. It's been a little iffy. Temperature gauge is still fine. It's right there, right where it touches the green, and that's the ideal spot. From there to 85 is fine. Anything but above that, it's kind of little keep an eye on kind of deal. Now the manual does say for air conditioned cars, it can hit right towards touching before the red, but you don't want that. I'm not comfortable with that at all. And look who decided to rejoin us, and who's leaving now. Oil pressure. Yeah, so it says very finicky. When I was driving the road, well, of course on the road, but I was driving, the oil pressure came back and went back to 60. As your RPM's lower, it's supposed to react when it hits about 15 to 20 in that area. Get lower, it just dumps down. And when you put some gas, it just goes back up. Like I said, it's very iffy. There's a, usually this means the sender is probably due for a new one. Coolant temperature rose a little bit. It was right at the very just touching the green line, but now it's a little bit more, probably like 83, 84. I noticed when I was in idling, it was rising up a lot slightly. I replaced the radiator cap. The old one was not sealing well anymore, and I think that was one issue there. I will probably, before I go on the trip tomorrow, I want to replace the, oh, you know what, I gotta buy it now and think about it. I want to buy the thermostat. I want to replace the thermostat tomorrow before I go, and that should be the only thing left. Besides that, it'll just be water pump, and it looks pretty good. Idling is fine. When I put it into gear, so this is reverse. Reverse goes in nice and quiet. And drive, you hear that clunk. You can reduce that if you lower the idle. So because the idle is right there at 10, if I have lowered it down to about 7, it will actually go in just like reverse. That real slight quiet. I did, that would have been perfect, except I have had issues where the idle, testing idle too low, it just causes problems, especially once we are actually driving and idling at stoplights and things like that. So I find it just better just to have it at 1,000 and just live with that little clunk. So, well, a little bit of video of us me driving, and then I'll put it away since, well, here's all the little speed stuff anyways. We got a car coming. Besides that, everything looks pretty good. The mixture is fine. I don't know, it's not overly rich. I have noted when I was driving it before, I did all the adjustments. I noticed that it was a lot richer. You could smell it, the gas. Now I don't smell it. I would say it's just borderline in between, maybe a little lean and rich. I could probably go another 2 more flats on the mixture. See, look at the oil pressure gauge. Yeah, I think I can go a little bit more on the mixture. Probably 2 more, close to 4, and it should be fine. But I kind of like it where it's at right now. I have enough acceleration and power. It can go to 70 and 80 without too much issues. I wouldn't want to push this car too long in 80s, 3,500 RPMs, that area. See our temperature gauge. It's looking pretty good. Power steering is great. And look, I'm driving it with a thumb. The power steering on these cars is fantastic. It can be a little sensitive. If you're not careful, you can easily find yourself out of the lines. It just reacts very much to anything you do to it. It's a very nimble car for how big it is. our wonky speedometer. I looped up the speedometer cable, made no difference. It might be the angle gear, at least it's time for replacing on that. But yeah, everything looks to be okay. Like I said, just a thermostat, just for peace of mind, and we should be okay for our trip tomorrow. The temperature went down a lot because you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but it rained a little bit. So we're actually in the low 80s now. I was actually hoping to take this car out when it was still in the 90s. High 90s, I get a feel how it's going to act on a really hot weather. Like I said, this area where I'm at, it doesn't get as hot as Houston. It's a lot cooler around here. Alright, so I'm going to turn off the video. I'm just going to head back home. And I also went to go get some food, and now let me test the car out and idle at the stoplights, drive through and all that stuff. And the temperature got a little high, more than I really like. As you can see, it's right there at the 85 mark. Now it's right in the middle of the green, which is fine, except I see it as a little too high. You see the idle also when I'm in park jumped up now to 15. So that's where it was last time. I thought I had improved on it. It's still right there. That's fine. It's only for park. I'm thinking the thermostat will solve it. It is still hot. It's like right now 90 degrees. It's just that I'm used to always seeing it without the air conditioning on. Not being at 85, but rather right there at the very start of the green line. Anyways, overall though the car was fine. Everything seems to be working good on it. There was a lot of power. I was able to maintain 80, 90, 70. Perfect for a road trip. I wouldn't have any issues being on the highway. So next step is I do want to replace the thermostat. I'm not going to do it today, mostly because it's going to be very hot in the engine bay right now. So, but I will order it today since tomorrow I believe is July 4th already. So I will do that right now. Wait, today is July 2nd, I think. Yeah, okay, so I got time. Anyways, the point is, order a thermostat. I'll pick one up here in AutoZone, and once the engine cools down tomorrow morning before I leave, I will change the thermostat out, and that should be, I hope that's it. The only thing left after that is just the water pump. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll continue on tomorrow. Hello, so it's actually the following day, and I forgot to hit a record and make a video, but I already started the trip. I'm at Nacogdoches, Texas, which is about a 45-minute drive from where my house is, and we're on our way to Houston right now. Everything looking okay. Okay, that's idling right now. Temperature's pegged at 85, which is higher than I was hoping for. Originally, I wanted to go get a thermostat, but it didn't have one. On my phone, it said the store had one. Went there, turned out it didn't. It was a different store. So the setting on my phone was wrong. It set for the wrong store. But I think we'll be okay. So far, everything looks so fine. We did the first 45 minutes driving in the heat. I put $25 worth of gas. Got about half a tank right now. Temperature, like I said, 85. It has a little hesitation. I think the mixture needed to be adjusted a little bit more, maybe a few more turns. But we'll leave it for now, since it's too hot in the engine right now to even touch it. Oil pressure gauge decided to join us again, so it's right there at 30. It looks good. For idling, amp gauge is fine. A little disappointed in the stereo. The reception's kind of a little worse. I think something with the antenna got moved. But we also have my Bluetooth one there, so it's okay. Alright, so we're, like I said, about to head out right now, and we got still about 2 hours, 30 minutes left to go. Hopefully we don't have any traffic, and everything should be fine. Okay. We're at our second stop. Took a quick bathroom break in the gas station outside of Lufkin, Texas. We are. I had to also reset up my GoPro. It fell down when I was driving, and yeah, it wasn't good. But so it's back up there. We'll see how long it lasts. A lot of it is the heat, and it just doesn't stay on there. So far so good. Everything's going well. Temperature did increase a little bit when I was idling. I had to wait for some traffic, and it got past the 5 mark on the temperature gates, and it went to the around 87, 86. It's not the end of the world, because as soon as I started driving it went down, but it's a little concerning. It's mostly for once I hit Houston and we hit traffic. I'll be a little bit concerned there, but hopefully everything will be okay there. Besides that, everything seems to be going well. Speed is going good. Fuel consumption is nice. Radio is a little disappointing. I think I'm not getting as much signal. Something with the antenna might be off there. It is also very hot when you stand still. Driving around, quarter lights very nice, and it directs air wherever you want. I really miss quarter lights. I'll tell you that much. Anyways, we'll get back on the road here soon, and okay, I'll see you at our next rest stop. Going well. Temperature kind of spiked up a little, so we'll see. Keep an eye on that. I saw a thermostat outside. It said it's 95 degrees right now, so it's a little high, but not 100, so we're still good. Besides that, the temperature spiked a little. Everything seems to be going to go well, except the radio, which I think it just did, and I just got to do a quick fix on it on my next stop. Beautiful car right there. Looks good, right? I always like the design and the shape of it. And I really like this color for it. Over here in the US, you see a lot more brown Rovers, and you don't see too many. Well, this is the first time I've seen one that was gray. I think it looks really sharp on it. So we're at our second rest stop. This is the rest stop outside of Livingston. Officially passed where I broke down last time, so we're making progress. Sorry for the wind, it's too hot to have the windows closed right now. But yeah, we're doing well timing, good timing and everything, no issues at all. So here we are, made it in Houston. I'm sorry I didn't have more film of me driving. I had to just focus too much on the highway and on the once hit the inside of Houston. Anyways. Everything went fine. No problem. I made a big gripe about the temperature, but in the end, it never actually left 85. So it's right there in the middle. But I think, like I said, I was so used to it being right there, like right before it touches the green, and so oil pressure light started working pretty dependably, which was pretty nice. Besides all that, the real downside was my radio. It wasn't picking up signal. Anyways, well, I mean, it was picking up signal, but it wasn't doing a good job of it. Anyways, though, it was a good trip. I'm glad it made it no problems. We're here and enjoy some of the World Cup celebrates. We're gonna celebrate the World Cup. Yeah, and okay. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.